pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. Hello, and welcome to the first installment of the Purple Pants Podcast Pitstop coverage of Amazing Race, Season 37, Episode 1. Your Pitstop duo is here, back, and for you. I'm super excited to be here with my amazing, talented, colorful, beautiful, note-taking winner of Amazing Race Season 29, Miss Brooke Camhigh. Welcome back. How are you?
The book. This could be published not even as a booklet. This is like 17 pages, front and back.
17 pages?
A lot. We are back, and we are back with a vengeance. Like, this is classic Amazing Race. I am, you know, I have been less than enthusiastic about some of the things that unfortunately had to happen. COVID, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I love the Amazing Race more than anything. Even when I'm complaining, I'm not really complaining, because any Amazing Race is better than no Amazing Race. But this Amazing Race, I laughed. I cried. I cried some more. I am thrilled. I am loving almost everybody, and we'll talk about it, but I'm giddy like a schoolgirl.
Yes, I have to say, Season 37 delivered in its premiere episode. I'm on the West Coast right now. Brooke is on the East Coast. Brooke got to watch it before me. She was texting me. I'm like, Brooke, I haven't watched it yet. Then I'm watching it. I'm texting her. She's asleep. But what I have to say is, again, I am relatively new here to the Amazing Race realm, but I'm going back, doing my history, and I've watched a couple seasons with you, Brooke, and with the Purple Pants Posse. And I have to say, this reminded me of old school Amazing Race. Like, it just was so great. There are teams that I love, and I feel like when we did our first look, I was like, there's not a team I can't not. Oh, but there's a team.
I was wrong. I will say I was probably wrong about some people already, and don't be mad at me. I will say, I think this is the 6th time we're doing this. At some point, you're a real Amazing Race fan. You're not really new anymore. It's like they say, after living in New York for 10 years, you're a New Yorker. I think you might be officially part of the Amazing Race family.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
But just like you, I had tears. I was laughing. I was screaming. I was rooting. I was cheering. I feel like a lot of my predictions in first look, or I had some specific requests for people, and I felt like it was coming true. So it was really great. I got to watch the premiere with Anna and Jonathan, and so cool. It was amazing. And you know, I've gotten to meet Pops and Jeff in real life. I've got to meet the Dungeon Boys in real life. And so it is, I just love this Amazing Race community. And it was just so great watching the episode. And so I was like, can't wait to get on the podcast with you and talk about it. But listen.
Okay, listening.
Now, I'm on a roll to a better Bryce. However, there is, like, I do, and I love all the teams, but I'm not going to cuss nobody out with love, but I'm going to give somebody a stern warning this episode.
Do you want to do it now?
I mean, we can. Now, I feel like there was a season of, come on, Dad.
Right.
And I feel like this season, we getting a little bit, come on, Mom.
Okay.
And I just feel like not too much on my mom. Not too much. What's the mother and daughter duo?
Erica and Melinda, I believe is correct.
And Erica is the daughter, right?
Yes.
Okay. Erica.
Mom got a little negative toward the end there, but
I said Melinda could do no wrong. I said Melinda could do no wrong in my eyes on the first look. And so Melinda's just getting the hang of it. So right. I wasn't even mad at Melinda's negativity. Like I kind of was with her a little bit.
I don't know. Erica, she about it when we get there, but I have no problem with how she acted. I didn't think she did anything wrong. I think she just was like, we'll talk about it when we get there. Let's set the stage a little bit. For episode 1, we have, I'm going to say for the first time, and I don't want to get into any fights about things that happen for the first time with you, because we all know what happened when we reviewed season 5. We will let that sleeping dog lie. For the first time, we have 14 teams, and this, Phil says, will be a season of surprises. Every leg seems to have some sort of throwback. We will see the fast forward, which we have not seen since, I believe, my season, which was 29. We will see the express pass. Or maybe that's what we haven't seen since my season. Regardless, there was a tease to so many tasks. There will be skydiving. There will be scuba diving. I'm super jealous because I am a certified diver. There will be lots of music and rhythm challenges. So jealous. There will be lots of tears, lots of tension, not a single ladle being made, which makes me angry. Somebody else should have to do it, but whatever. And the first ever, this episode, fork in the road. I would like to get your opinion on the fork in the road.
I don't mind the fork in the road. The thing that frustrated me the most about the fork in the road was teams that obviously, like 3 and 4 teams, right? After each team had chose a side, I'm like, I don't care if y'all good at dancing or good at singing. Let's be a little strategic here. Why would you join the pack 5th and 4th if there's only one person over there doing one thing?
Well, okay, yes, and for me, I don't think the fork in the road should have had a limit of people. I think if 13 people wanted to dance, then 13 people should have been allowed to dance. And if one person was like, we're going to try this singing, congratulations, you're the only team that took that initiative, you get to stay. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I also wish it was for more than one task. This just sort of seemed like a detour that you couldn't switch. And you were going to have 2 winners and 2 people who went home. But I think it's a cool concept. I think it could be tweaked in the future. I think I have an eyelash in my eye, which is causing me problems, but it's been fixed. Anyway, and I think it's going to be something pretty cool to use in the future, maybe slightly skewed from what they did with it on this first episode. That's my thoughts.
I agree. I agree, but I did like it though. I did think it was fun and an interesting twist, and it made it more exciting towards the end. Because when you kind of were figuring out who was going to go home, it was interesting. But I felt like Will and James. Like I felt like I was being strategic, and I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to be 3rd in dancing when there's only one other person is singing. But
I mean, there was, when we get there, we'll talk about it. But there was a team who flat out looked at the board and there were more dancers than singers, and Jasmine and Courtney, I want to say, said basically, there's 2 teams of white guys over here. I think we can dance better than them. And they did, but we will leave that for when the time comes, because also those 2 ladies, I think, got seriously effed over when it came to getting the cap. I'll let you have your opinion on that. I do have some more information for you. So I don't know if your opinion is going to change or not, but freedom of opinion. So I'll let you know what I know.
We can talk about it. We can talk about it. Okay. But I didn't like that at all.
Well, okay, we'll talk about it. So anyway, 14 teams get to the starting line. Everybody is excited. I, of course, start to get goosebumps and tear up because Phil does this thing where he does his stuff. We have, the first thing we hear is from Bernie and Kerrigan. Kerrigan's going to be the calming force. Bernie's brain goes 1,000 miles an hour. We hear from Brett and Mark, who are the Vegas married couple. They're talking about destroying their friends and laughing about it later. Love that. We have Hannah Holden, who she talks about how her brother is super duper annoying. I don't think she really means that, because honestly, if I did this with my brother, one of us would end up probably in the hospital, but we would come to blows. I don't see them being mean. I just think, sometimes the little brother is annoying. I know it from personal experience. Then we hear from Mike and Nick, who have applied 7 times, which I think gets us back to season 29 or 30. I love that they're big fans. And we see a bit of their audition tape later. They're really into it. And I think that they're going to be a really fun team to watch. We got to see a little bit of stress, and somebody told somebody to calm down, and nobody's ever calmed down from being told to calm down. I'm just telling you that, also from personal experience. And then before the start line, we see Jack and Carson, who are very much leaning into the nerdy Dungeons and Dragons stuff, but I say don't let it fool you. These two are fit and at the front of the pack, running every single time. I don't think they're going to be able to play like, oh, we're just the nerds, don't come after us.
I agree.
Anyway, yeah. That's one. Okay, we have Pops. Yeah, one. We have Pops and Jeff, who are literally trying to like hold their muscles into their shirts. Like their shirts cannot contain their sheer like physiques. And Scott and Lori, who just need a vacation from their children. And then Phil does his thing. I got to watch with Jack and Carson and a bunch of former racers together, and we just had so much fun because it's interesting when you've all like watched Phil do this in person, and then we all stand there and stare at the TV. And I was standing with Lala and Lulu, and we were watching the TV, and we're like, everyone just remembers what that moment was for them, and we all get very excited about it. So I cried, and then we're off. What did you think of the teams at the start line? Was there anyone who told their story that made you feel differently than you thought during the cast assessment?
I felt like I was super excited. I felt like all of the teams looked great. I felt like hearing the mom and dad with 7 kids. Like
Don't take away
eight, maybe 9. Like they seemed super into it. I loved obviously Pops and Jeff. So I was like really excited. But for me, I was waiting for the moment when Phil said go, because I always think about Todd and Ashley's season when Todd just left Ashley. I'm always looking for like, okay, who's going to be like running in the pack? So I was like super focused in to see which teams are going to stay together, which team is going to have that clear leader. So that's what I was focusing on. And it did deliver.
If you noticed, I think Ernest and Bridget, the father-daughter, I love a father-daughter team. He left her behind, which I sort of love. He's like, Bridge, are you coming? And she's like, I'm behind. Like, I think they're a team to watch. Based on this episode, I think they're a team to watch. Okay, so clue number 1, fly to Hong Kong. I love when the race goes east, or to the far east before they go. A lot of the races either go south or to Europe, and it's rare that they start in Asia. But I like this for the Amazing Race. I think it's usually a cooler route to go that way and make your way home through Europe, hopefully Africa, South America, and back up. But I don't think they go to all those continents. Anyway, so they're finding this Tiantan Buddha, or as Carson and Jack call it, the Big Buddha, which make me nervous because what if there's more than one Buddha and they weren't calling it the right thing? I actually thought they might be going to the wrong spot. But no, there's one Big Buddha to find your next clue. And then the opening credits happen, and you know my feeling. Who is team number 3? I was number 3. I always think the third team in the credits is going to win.
Who was number 3?
That would be Mark and Brett, my official winner picks for season 37 of The Amazing Race. Team 3.
And listen, I mean, we'll get there when we get there, but there.
Oh my God. Well, remember how we say there's a task for everyone? There was a leg for these two. Like, this was everything they were good at today.
That was crazy. My mouth was open. I couldn't believe what Brett was doing.
It was nuts.
Yeah, that was crazy. Also, another random team. What's his name? Josiah.
The Philly team.
They're from Philly. That's the Philly team?
That's Alyssa and Josiah, Philly.
So that must be why I'm so connected, because I love Josiah. Like, just period. Just all throughout the episode, his little sayings, him and Alyssa talking, like him like, I'm just her clown, or like, I love Josiah. Period.
I did not think I was going to love this team. It took one episode. I think I was wrong. I didn't think think I was wrong. I think I'm going to like them much, much. I didn't think that the thing is this. There have been so many teams who are like these young, either engaged, newly married, dating teams that just are so like sometimes boring. Like they just, and maybe they're not boring. They're just not shown a lot. There's been some of these teams where, you know, it happened a few seasons ago. I'm a very avid fan of The Amazing Race, but there were a couple teams I couldn't even tell them apart because they just weren't shown. I think I worried that this was going to be one of those teams, and I am already wrong, and I'm happy I'm wrong about it. So I'm cheering for them. I really like their dynamic. She is cutthroat. I think she will cut you and not feel badly about it, and I'm into that.
I feel like last season we might have had a team that was engaged, and I feel like this team, I feel like could be the complete opposite of that.
So they're the anti-Vinny and Amber. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, but
I think
really
they were the only engaged team.
Can I give you my gripe about the Buddha?
Yes, please.
Because Phil said, or when they're doing the rolling, they said, and the clue will be at the top. The clue was not at the top.
I'm sorry, you wanted them to climb more stairs than the stairs they had to climb?
I'm just saying.
I gotta tell you, Jackie and Lauren, I don't think we're going up any more stairs. My heart. And we'll talk about this, but honestly, you know me. I will be the first person to roll my eyes and be like, you don't, like, come on, it's stairs. Like, it's not, whatever. 5 of our pit stops were up multiple hundreds of stairs. I love them so much that I'm not even mad about it. They can do no wrong. I am genuinely upset that we're not going to be able to talk about them next week. I'll still talk about them, but it was still a lot of stairs. You don't think? Was there another level that I didn't even realize? It went up another level?
Yeah, there was like another level where the Buddha was, but. And I mean, since we're here with Jackie, right? Like, I think the thing that touched me the most was, one, she's saying that she has this fear of the steps, right?
Wait, Lauren? Jackie. Lauren. I think it was Lauren.
It was Jackie.
Which one did the roadblock? I think that was Jackie. Okay. Whatever. Okay.
So,
go ahead.
Lauren, it's the thing about, like, when you're facing a fear, or like, you know, when someone's like, I'm scared of heights, I can't look down, and like they're not looking down. It's the fact that she's saying she has this fear of steps, but she walking down the steps. Yeah, like she's like, you know, and having her sister right there, and not. I'm about to get emotional a little bit, because it's the fact that her sister wasn't like, come on, let's go, we need to go. Like, her sister was like, you're doing this, I'm with you, we got this. Like, it's like the type of support that you want. And I said the purple team was my winner pick, and I don't care what anybody says, they are the winners of season 37, period, because they won my heart. I just love their energy, their authenticity, their charisma. I don't even know if that's where you should put charisma in, but their charisma for life. And so, like I said, there will be no Jackie Team Purple slander on this podcast, and they didn't give us any.
You're not going to give us any. The thing is this: they had to know they were in the back the entire time, because it was obvious. There were pictures. So on and so forth. Never once was it even like, oh, we're last. It was always just joy and excitement to be doing it, and still going. It was not like, oh, I can't do this because it's hard and it's raining. We're so far. It took us 18 minutes to get really far off topic, but we're gonna get to talk to them. That's the only silver lining that I find from any of this, is that we've spoken to them as an eliminated team, and they're just such beautiful.
They're amazing. They're the winners of season 37. Period.
Okay. Well, then we don't need to talk about this anymore. I don't need these other pages. And nice that has been your Amazing Race pit stop.
Now,
but let's just talk it through, just because we're here. So that's it. The end. Jackie and Lauren win. But in this alternate universe, let's play it through because, you know, they filmed it. So let's talk about it. Okay. So everyone's going to LAX to make their way to Hong Kong. Jonathan and Anna.
Can we talk about how, although it wasn't airport drama, they kind of gave us little airport drama? I like how, like, even though all they had to do was just walk up to the gate. But, you know, I appreciated them kind of incorporating this step. And I love the teams running up and being like, are we on the first plane? We're on the first plane. We're on the first. Jonathan running down the airport. First of all, I'm pretty sure you can't run in the airport.
Why not?
I mean, I feel like it's like you can't.
I've run through plenty in airport.
Well,
I write down, Jonathan celebrates as if he won the whole damn race by getting on the first flight. This is hilarious. If they do win the whole race, he might just have an aneurysm. Like this, just comment a little. I'm excited for your excitement. Your excitement is great. Like, temper it a little. Because if this is where you start, I don't know what happens if you win a leg or if you, like, I don't know, get some prize. I worry. I worry for Anna's safety because I feel like he's going to pick her up and throw her in celebration and she might just break a limb. I don't know. But his excitement is infectious. He did do the only thing this episode that rubbed me the wrong way, and we'll talk about it later. But I do like them very much. I sort of low-key love her. Okay, so flight 1. Oh, side note, little behind the scenes for anybody's watching. Before the airport and before the flights, and it didn't affect people getting on flights, so it didn't matter. And I have their permission to share this information. A certain team who we both love left their fanny pack at the start line. Realized it when they got to LAX, turned around, went back to the start line, picked up their fanny pack, turned around, went back to LAX, and still ended up on flight 2, which is where they were going to be anyway. Would you care to guess who it is? Would you like to know who the teams on flight 2 are?
Yes, please.
Okay. So flight 1, Jonathan and Anna, Jack and Carson, Melinda and Erica, Courtney and Jasmine. Great. Flight 2, Hannah and Holden, Mark and Brett, Bernie and Kerrigan, Scott and Lori, Mike and Nick, Ernest and Bridget, so many teams, Alyssa and Josiah, Mark and Larry, Jackie and Lauren, and Jeff and Pops. It's Jeff and Pops.
And this doesn't surprise me because Jeff and Pops came to the Bryson Wynn Survivor 48 premiere, and they were staying 3 blocks from the premiere. And we're halfway through the party, and I'm like, where is Jeff and Pops? I text Jeff. Jeff says, sorry, we got lost. I said, lost?
The streets in New York City are numbered. They go in number order. I mean, I am a huge fan of this team, and they said it's okay to share, but that doesn't bode well for, you know, future stuff. Okay. It's 2. So anyway, is this right? Yeah. This is on the plane. Boop. Okay. So anyway, as we're talking about getting on the plane, we are hearing the story of Scott and Lori, and they show old pictures of them. These two are in the best shapes of their life, clearly. They look good now. And then they talk about Mark and Larry, who met nearly 40 years ago on Mississippi barge. Like, this is not speaking my language because, like, it's not where I grew up. But I love how The Amazing Race will bring together people who never would have met otherwise. Like, these two real men are not afraid to cry. And these two are emotional, and I like it.
Can I tell you my first red flag for them, though, where I got concerned?
That they got eliminated on the first episode?
Yes. Was that when they said they never traveled internationally before. And although they said they traveled all throughout the United States, I was like, I'm nervous for you because I would hope to think that when you go on The Amazing Race, you have just the knowledge and the experience of knowing how to travel through an airport, knowing how, like, you know, just traveling internationally gives you a huge benefit. And there are just certain things and just, like, you know, knowledge. So I was like, oh, I'm a little nervous, but I feel like when they were talking with Bernie, and Bernie came up to them and was like, "What's your name?" He said, "Handsome." I said, "Oh, okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute." And then not Bernie said, "Is your name tall, dark, and handsome?" I said, "Bernie."
No, my favorite thing came 1 second later when Mark and Larry goes, "We're the old guys," and Bertie and Karen go, "We know." Like, that was their response. Loved it. I will say, I think one of the contestants who made the finale on my season had never been out of the United States.
Okay.
And he
so
and
it
he
doesn't
made
hinder.
it doable, but I do get I get your point.
It made me a little nervous, just a little bit.
Well, maybe there's something to that because, we spoke to them too. Anyway, there are 2 flights. They're an hour apart. The first flight ends up landing 18 minutes late. The second flight ends up landing 11 minutes early. So it's really like a half hour instead of a full hour apart. So they have to go to the Big Buddha. We have Carson and Jack get there first. John and Anna. John, can I call him John? Jonathan? Whatever. Melinda and Erica, and Courtney and Jasmine in that order. I see my first stray dog of the season. The count is now number 1. It's this adorable golden puppy. I'm going to find him. I'm going to bring him home. And then they have to go to take the Sun Ferry to Chung Chau Island. I love this because, go, interrupt me.
No, I was going to say, even when we were on our way to Buddha and then on our way to the ferry, the thing that I was loving about Jonathan and Anna was they were utilizing their taxi driver. They asked for his cell phone. I was like, did Brooke talk to them before they left?
Used his name. They made him part of the team. He was in it. Very smart. Like, they have studied. They are students of the. They did not speak to Brooke beforehand, but I will tell you, I was very proud. I put big stars. I wrote notes about this is how you do it. If you have time to kill, you shouldn't. You should always be doing something. And they were very smart. They had a great cab driver who was into it and willing to share their phone and so on and so forth. But they were doing it right. So, goodbye. That's right.
I was so excited to see that. And I was like, oh my God, Brooke always talks about this. And it was the fact that like Anna was like reaching for his phone before he even said that she could have it. But listen,
you have your phone.
I loved it.
What do we do? I loved it. Loved it. And there's something to it because they're the only team to make the first ferry. But we know how the race works, and everyone's gonna get bunched up and just and then Jonathan celebrates as if he won the mother effing lottery because they make the for it. But again, pace yourself, sir. There's a lot of race left.
Listen, I'm not mad at Jonathan, and they celebrated for 3.2 seconds, and then what did Jonathan do? They said, we can't just sit here. We could be studying. We should go study. And I was like, yes. I was here for it.
Mm-hmm. They know what they're doing.
Listen, I might have watched with Jonathan and Anna. I'm not biased. I was really interesting watching Jonathan and seeing him in person. Also, I didn't realize that they listened to our first look. And so in the middle of the episode, Jonathan turns to me and goes, I don't have a brother or an Uncle Bryce, but you can still be a part of our family.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I said, well, Jonathan, what about a grandpa? Because
you're nuts. And then they tell the story about how they separated and how the Amazing Race brought them back together. I don't know what year that was, but I'm taking credit for that too. So you're welcome. Just kidding. They're great. And I think that the Amazing Race brings people. It's just such a good. Thank you for making the Amazing Race. Okay, so these.
Sorry. But I also
I like this behind the scenes because you were with them, so you were watching him while he was watching himself while you were watching the show.
Oh, and mind you, Jonathan enjoys watching himself. His eyes were like locked on the screen, but I also enjoyed them telling that story, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people that are married or in relationships, they wouldn't really talk about that, right? Like, they kind of just be like, oh, we're together for 20 years. And so I don't know, it was just the realness about that story that it kind of touched me. And so I just appreciated that. Now, mind you, I was hopefully, if Jonathan had a nephew or a brother, we could go through our ups and downs and I could share that with him. But there was something like that realness that connected me to them.
You know what it reminded me of? What? It was Todd and Ashley, who told a very similar story at the beginning of their season about how they contemplated not being together anymore. It wasn't the Amazing Race that brought them back together, but I like this. I think this is the beauty of the 90-minute episode. You get to see more of who the teams are, because in 60 minutes, we weren't getting that story. In 60 minutes, we weren't hearing behind the scenes of why Jackie and Lauren are, why there's a stair issue. You weren't going to hear these things, and it would have felt a little disjointed. I'm loving the extra 30 minutes. And sometimes I think the Amazing Race has gotten it right now. I think at the beginning when they were trying to fill in an extra 30 minutes, sometimes it felt a little unnecessary. But I feel like the editors have gotten it so right that I feel like I'm learning about the people. Right. It's being peppered in properly and tastes great. So I'm
also, shout out to Todd and Ashley. They were there with us last night. And it was just so great to see them out. They had some family issues with their son, and so they've been dealing with a lot of hot. And so
thank
for
God
them to just
he's okay.
And then for them, they said they hadn't been out the house in a month, and so like they wanted to come share in their Amazing Race family, and so it was just great to see them. I love this Amazing Race community. I just have to say, like, I mean, I love my Brooke's my heart, but like to have people like Todd and Ashley and Shalissa.
Oh, was there? They were there?
Rod and Shalissa were there. I go up to them. They stand up. They go, hello, nice to meet you. I said, you're Rod, you're Shalissa. They were like, you know us? I'm like, yes, I met you.
You're the guy who can move a car by just touching it with his finger. What are you talking about? Of course we know you.
Not Rod and Shalissa. It was
Oh, that's Rod and Letitia. God damn.
Yeah.
Who is Well, someone's gonna yell at me because now I don't remember that I'm forgetting a team, which makes me
oh my God, Brooke. No, I will help you out. It was
for me.
No, I got you, girl. It is Derek and Shalissa.
Oh, shut up. I love them. Okay, so Kishori and Karishma call them mom and dad because they say I got to meet them at the last finale. Actually, I don't feel that badly because one of them didn't know I was on the show because I don't think they really watched the show that much before they were on the show. So whatever, it's fine. They'll forgive this, I think, because, it happens. They were genuinely such nice, down-to-earth, wonderful people. Okay, good. Glad you got to hang out with them.
We love them. And also shout out Danny Butler. Danny Butler was there.
Was there?
And he brought his sister. So I met my other Angie. I met my other sister. So
you have so many family members, all because of this podcast. Okay, we're moving. Okay, so Jack and Carson, Erica and Melinda, Courtney and Jasmine are waiting for a ferry because John and Anna got on the first one. He has celebrated like the whole thing. He has $1 million in his pocket. Meanwhile, the other bozos are all running up the stairs to get to the big Buddha. I don't think you care about the order. Bottom line is Brett and Mark are first at that group. Jackie and Lauren are bringing up the rear. And at this point, we hear the story of the stairs. What? Talk to me.
We hear the story of the stairs, but also the Files brothers that, I like to call them. I was interested, like when they were on the second plane and they missed the ferry. They're like, it's some competition. Yes, it's some competition.
In all fairness, I took a rowing class and climbed one rock wall and I was like, I'll be fine. There are going to be people in their 70s. There are going to be people who never left the United States. I was like, they're going first. I'm going to be okay. And then I was the only not CrossFitter or ultramarathon runner or yoga instructor on my season. And it was harder than I thought. I think these guys, there are a lot of teams that go on the second plane at the very first episode that make us the end. So they shouldn't really worry. But I do know that feeling of getting there and being like, we just need to be on the first plane. We just need that cushion. And I think, I'm trying to remember which one is the one who got frustrated. I think it was Mike. Nick who was telling Mike to calm down and relax. It's all going to be okay. I think that's going to be the dynamic for the season. I like both of them. I think they're fantastic. I know,
I'm Mike though. I was like, okay, I connect.
Oh, same. I'm not calm. And don't tell anybody to calm down. Nobody calms down when you tell them to calm down. But I digress. Jackie and Lauren make it down the stairs without falling. I love them. I'm not mad. And that's a traumatic experience that she had, and she prevailed, and nobody made anybody rush. And the love those two have is infectious. And if anyone tries to say anything negative, I'm not going to stand for it.
And they just were so excited. They just were so excited to be
It is
there.
hard to be excited when you know you're last. I don't know how they did that, and yet it was pure joy. The whole thing was joy. Let them back. Justice for Jackie and Lauren. Okay,
Yes.
so everybody else is on the next ferry except Jackie and Lauren. And we get to this roadblock, which says, who's ready for some ups and downs? You have to climb this bamboo tower, which is normally climbed so people can grab like buns. I don't understand it, but I will climb a tower for a carbohydrate any day of the week.
So here's my thing that I needed to ask you about that, right? So it's a tradition that they climb to the top and you grab as many buns as you can.
Mhm.
If the goal is to grab as many buns as you can,
Don't climb to the top.
First of all, start here. But yes, why do you need to climb to the top?
Bryce's little buns start here. I can't. Okay.
They're not little, okay? But no, but why? Why do you need to go to the top?
I don't know. It's probably a rule, Bryce. I don't know. I didn't make the rule. Climb to, I don't know.
I had to have a whole conversation at the watch party about
Why didn't you just ask Jonathan? What's the deal with the climbing to the top of the buns thing? I would have asked if I wasn't doing the task. I would have tried to get some information, but
I just kept talking about it because I was like, that confuses me. Like if the goal, but anyway. Also, I loved how Jonathan said to Anna, like, you do this one first, cause it's going to be.
It's smart. It's smart. Look, if he knows he's going to be faster at things and they have a lead, and the rule is you have to do an equal amount of roadblocks, let her get this one out of the way. Also, she is me and I am her. And the whole time she's talking to herself and huffing and puffing. She doesn't say I can't, but she's like, this is so hard. I'm so tired. And he's like, you're tired already? And I'm like, shush, Jonathan, she is tired already. Let her be. This is difficult. But then he redeems himself because he's all showing them how the girls do it. And he was very supportive. The way she screamed at the top, I really, really liked how he was very supportive and screaming with her. And never, when he said you're tired already, did not say it loud enough for her to hear, which I appreciated, because if that were me, I would have had a moment.
Because I was looking like, Jonathan, it's the first episode, but he redeemed himself.
He did.
Very quickly. But it's two other people we got to talk about on this bun climbing ladder.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Yeah, anyway, they go back to the ferry because they have to go to the fork in the road ahead, and they're waiting for the ferry. Okay, the end.
And that was another classic. That was another classic, amazing race that I felt like in season 5, we saw a lot where, what was the team? What was his name? My ox is broken.
Oh, Colin and Christy, yeah.
Colin and Christy, they were ahead. They're sleeping overnight in front of monuments, and then they wake up the next day, and all the teams were there. So I loved that, like, that leveling out point that this had, where it's like, oh, you think you're ahead, but it doesn't matter because you got to wait till it open. So I was loving this classic theme of Amazing Race kind of coming back. I thought it was so great.
Same. So while these two are waiting for the ferry back, 12 of the other 13 teams have now gotten the ferry there. And so everybody else except Jackie and Lauren are on their way to the roadblock, right?
I just want to say, while these other teams are out here just competing for the Amazing Race, Jackie and Lauren, they are enjoying their time. Okay, yeah. they are at their own pace, doing their own thing. Just want to put that out there because they're just chilling. Like they
should have been at somebody else's pace, because unfortunately, your own pace doesn't work unless your own pace is super fast. So. Okay, I do appreciate that. Again, Jonathan and Anna, while they're waiting for the ferry back, go to a McDonald's and start to learn everything they can about where they're going next. Yes, snaps to you. That is how you do it. I hope you stay smart the whole time because it will keep you going for a very long time. Roadblock. We don't have to talk about some people because honestly, you don't even show some people. Let's get
to it. Okay, baby. First of all, I had took in my notes, right, that I said Han and Bernie are killing it. Like when they started, they were killing it. Then Brett got up there. Brett said, you know how you crack your back? Like, you stretch. Brett said, good luck, ladies.
Yeah, okay,
I
see you at
do
the
this.
top.
Brett said, I do this for a living.
He said, hold my beer, and climbed to the top without a single problem. The speed with which this man moved was unbelievable.
Brooke, I don't know if I got a little moist. I don't know what was happening.
I don't know. Maybe you should get that looked into. I'm not sure, but
then okay, so Brett killed it. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that.
He's a Cirque du Soleil like acrobat. I mean, this was his day. Like these were made for him. Now I worry what's next, because if you had your great day on day one, I don't know what's made for you next. But these two seem like they can do anything.
Correct. And then Pops getting up there.
Use your legs, man.
When Jeff said Pop's not even using his legs, and Pops is just okay, but listen.
And still passing people.
Pops ate that down. Pops said, I don't need no legs. You see these guns? Pops said, pop, 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 pop. I said, what?
Well, he's the best tree climber in Missouri, I guess. Still in his 60s.
Yes.
So, okay, good for him. I mean, he did great. You have Jasmine, who's up there praying for help. I like him a lot. Like, and then Court, I think that's right. And then whoever's not doing it, the only one I didn't circle, is like, snatch it like you want it. Like the cheerleading.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we subsequently find out, and I wrote this before I found that out, that Scott was actually a male cheerleader. The way he's cheering for his wife while she's doing this made me just smile, because it was interesting to me that in the male-female teams, they had so many of the women did this task, because it was a very upper body or very physical task, and there are artsy tasks that will come, but Lori did it. She did great. Scott was cheerleading like a maniac. Erica lost a shoe on the way down, but she did great. Carson climbed very quickly. Mark did a great job, but the one I want to talk about, where is it? Oh my goodness. Bridget. Now,
okay, first of all.
It was almost like you didn't even, go ahead, yeah.
I was going to say, is it Bridget or is it Bubblegum?
It's Ernest, yeah, it's Bubblegum.
Okay, because the nickname Bubblegum, I was like, it's no longer Bridget, it's Bubblegum. So please refer to Bridget as Bubblegum. That's the only way I'm going to acknowledge Bridget on this podcast.
I got no problem with that. I love a daddy-daughter team. I don't know where that nickname came from. There's probably a story behind it, but how cute is this cuteness? Like, they are just super, super cute. Where are Jackie and Lauren? I wrote, nowhere to be found. Okay, so
they're out shopping. Listen, they are in. Wait, and where are we? We're in Tokyo?
Hong Kong.
Listen, they're in Hong Kong. They're out shopping. They want to check and get their nails done. They're eating. They're enjoying this experience, okay? While they're racing, Jackie and Lauren, they're getting pampered, period.
A, that's not how the Amazing Race works.
Yes,
B,
that
there's a very famous team, Danny and Oswald, who actually were far enough ahead at one point in their race that they did go shopping, and I believe bought cologne during their actual leg of the Amazing Race. So you could still shop and stay in it, in theory. Just saying. Okay, so Jonathan and Anna have all the air let out of their tire, wind let out of their sail, whatever. They're upset, visibly upset, when all of the other teams except Jackie and Lauren, I just assume it's except Jackie and Lauren, catch up to them, waiting to take the ferry back to the mainland. You have to understand that this is going to happen at some point. But this is where I see Jonathan being like, you could tell when things don't go his way, he may have a little bit of original Colin in him. That's all I'm going to say, and we'll see how it goes.
Is that a compliment? Because, Colin was iconic. And here's the thing. I respected the fact that he got so mad, because I would have been just as mad, right? And it's I like the fact that you let us see it, but it just was interesting. And watching him watch it live, I think he got a little mad. I think it triggered him a little bit. I was like,
Okay, well, I can't wait to see what happens when they finish worse than second. Okay. Now here's the thing. On this ferry are 13 teams. Normally, everyone should be in a good mood because the 14 team is clearly going home. But in this case, there are 2 teams going home. So this is now like a race where one of these teams is absolutely going home.
Which is even more important, I would think, that when it's time to go to the fork in the road, that you are strategic.
Well, some of them were strategic. Some of them.
I felt like not enough. I felt like not enough.
It's probably true.
I felt
Jackie
like
and Lauren get to the roadblock eventually. The celebration when this roadblock is completed, like here's the thing. Like, I really like Jonathan and Anna, but they're celebrating a lot, and I'm sort of okay with it. The celebration with Jackie and Lauren, I'm celebrating with them. I am jumping up and down, and they're crying. She's laying down, being lowered from this tower.
Wait, that was the fact that she just let go, though, Brooke. The fact that she just was like. But here's the thing, right? Why I love Jackie and Lauren so much is that clearly we know they've been by themselves for the majority of this time, right? So
and
they
not
already
in a good way.
know. Right. And so, like, it's the fact that she, like, when it's Lauren that does this, right? Or Jackie?
Thought it was Jackie, but again, hold on. Keep going.
So it's like her doing it. And first,
Lauren. Yep. And everyone's cheering for them, and I'm crying because they're far behind. But whatever.
And she says, like, this is my amazing race moment, right? Like, and that, I don't know why that got emotional for me, because it's like they probably know what's the outcome, right? But it's still like in this moment, like this is what I came here for, to complete a task. Like the way it touched me, truly, like, I felt that. And I feel like that really does transcend to anyone that's listening. I don't want to get emotional, but like, there are hurdles in life that we go through on our job and our friendships and real life. And sometimes it's like, you just need to complete that task, or you need to do that one thing. And it's like, you know that you're doing it for yourself, not for what anyone else thinks of you. And so I just thought that moment was so beautiful.
It really, really was. It was just, if you don't know that I love them, you're blind and deaf, because I love them. So at this point, everyone else is headed to the fork in the road except Courtney and Jasmine, because no cab will take them. And I know this is what you were talking about earlier. So air your grievances and let's discuss with the little bit of information that we have.
Okay. I just feel like, for me, seeing the 2 Black females out there and the way that all the other teams were able to get cabs, and it wasn't just like 1 cab, 2 cabs, 3 cabs, 4 cabs, 5 cabs. And listen, I'm a well-traveled person myself, and I have experienced racism abroad. It's a real thing. It happens. And I really do feel like what we saw made me a little uncomfortable, right? And here's the thing. I understand they had the English translations. They didn't have the actual translations. So I get that. That is a barrier. But also, we're filming Amazing Race. There's a camera crew behind us, right? Like, and so most cabs, like, you know, a second or two, it was, for me, it was just the dismissal. It was like, no. Like, that didn't make me feel good. And I know I haven't met these beautiful women yet or talked to them, but I know in that moment, like, that has had to come across their mind. Like, I just seeing that was just so disheartening. And so I just, from my perspective, I know what it's like to have never been able to get a taxi in New York City. I know what it's like to you order a Lyft and like someone orders a Lyft, like you're at a party and like you go out to the car with them and the driver's like, no. Like, I mean, like, so it's like I've experienced things like that. So I can only imagine, like, when you're abroad, it's crazy. But I do understand they didn't have the translation.
Well, they did. So I'm not gonna, I am not in a position to, I have not experienced the same things. I've experienced different things, and woman, whatever, be it as it may, that's a very real experience. That's an experience that I know friends of mine have had. The only thing I'm going to say is before the cab that took them. So when you're on The Amazing Race, you get an envelope and you get the clue, and then there's additional information in some of your envelopes. There was additional information in this envelope that had the actual Chinese characters to show to a cab driver, and they did not realize that, it seems, until like the 6th cab. When they actually showed the right writing, they were taken. Now, it might be completely unrelated. They did make it a point, and I see what you're saying, to air the fact that, oh, we didn't actually look at the additional information. Read your clue. Where's my little thing? But yes, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there because I don't necessarily think you're wrong.
Right.
But I'm just going to tell you the facts as they were laid out for the show.
You
might be very right. I don't actually think you're wrong.
Right. And here's what I would even say, the taxi driver that even helped them, even when they had, his demeanor was completely different. Like for me, it was the demeanor. It's like, you're not even looking to help. Like, you're not even like, you just like, no, like that for me was what was the problematic thing for me. But I was so happy that they did not get discouraged. I was so happy that they stayed with it. Mm-hmm. I was so happy that they were problem solving and trying to like figure it out, like, because if Spicy Pricey was out there, Brooke, I would have been liable to just stand in the middle of the street.
I mean, sometimes standing in the middle of the street will get a cab to stop. I'm into that for you. When we were in Vietnam, there was such a language barrier with the taxi drivers. Hong Kong is it's a very major city, so maybe it's a very different story. But, yep, okay, so that's all I'm gonna say about it. I think you might very well be right. I think the way these ladies handled themselves was fantastic. There was class. I mean, I got discouraged from nothing, and 6 taxis or wherever it was, like, that is, especially when you're in the back and you're fighting for your life in the race. The fact that they stayed so positive, I love them. So, okay. So at this point, we see a little bit more about the team that I think I was wrong about, Josiah and Alyssa. We learn about how she is like, so she says, if you don't win, what's the point? Amen, sister. Like, I like her attitude. He just seems like the supportive figure, lifting her up and letting her shine. And I am very much for their relationship. I love Josiah. Yeah.
Like, I'm the Josiah fan of this relationship. I got to get to know Alyssa more, but Josiah has me in.
Fan. So, okay. So have I mentioned that I really love Jackie and Lauren? Because at this point, so everyone else is so far ahead. This is the point where Lauren's actually finishing the roadblock. Everybody claps. Everybody cheers. I love that they showed that. We'll come back to them later because they're not seen for a little while. Courtney and Jasmine still can't get a taxi. People are showing up to the fork in the road sign. Then they cut back to Courtney and Jasmine, who still can't get a taxi. Commercial break. We come back from the commercial. Courtney and Jasmine still can't get a taxi, but finally they do. Okay, so we've discussed the additional information. Not important. So now comes the fork in the road, the big new twist for episode 1 of season 37. Our options are sing and dance because, I mean, actually, one of these was actually kind of hard. So I was going to say Amazing Race would make it hard, but like the sing side was really hard. It was hard. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, you know how I be feeling about these challenges sometimes, though, because obviously the beginning, the first ones to go, they're more stricter than towards the end. But I did feel like at the start of the singing one, they said, you might not know the words, but if you commit to it, that could help a lot. So, and I also, so for me, that's when I was like, okay.
Well, thankfully, I
ever go on an Amazing Race
to sing because most of these people were fairly tone deaf. That being said, the singing was hard. The singing one was singing and basically dancing in a different singing in a different language, but it was phonetic. I mean, look, these were clearly unbalanced detours. So I actually really like the fact that there were 2 winners and 2 people who went home, because 4 people from the dancing side crossed the finish line before the first person on the singing side crossed the finish line. And that singing side person got to the board before other people who got to the finish line on the dancing side even had gotten to the board. So on the singing side, for anybody who didn't watch, which I don't understand why you're watching the podcast if you haven't watched the episode, but whatever. Dress up.
They don't need to watch the episode, Brooke. They just come to the pit stop for the tea.
Okay, don't bother watching. We'll tell you what happened. So dress up and perform and sing lines from a Cantonese opera. This shit was hard. Okay. On the dance side, be the head and the tail of a lion and learn this lion dance. I learned the super easy choreographed routine. Maybe it was harder than it looked and they didn't show the whole thing. But I mean, when you are on The Amazing Race and you do one side of a detour, you actually don't even get, unless you switch, which in this case you couldn't, you will never see the other side until the show airs. So I would be curious to ask some of the people who did the dance side, what would you think if you had to do that? Like, this is clearly harder. Or the singing side, do you regret going to singing because dancing was clearly the easier challenge?
But you know what I thought, though, Brooke, when I saw the dancing and it was like the movement of the head and the tail. And I'm like, wow, this in my mind, watching this on season 37, all the way in Hong Kong, I'm like, Anthony and Bailey, this is their challenge. If they were here, there's just no way Anthony and Bailey don't crush this challenge.
Agree. Justice for Anthony and Bailey.
Yes.
Which one's the head and which one's the tail?
I think Bailey is the head and the tail. But it is interesting, though. The dancing one was funny to see, the Fios bros, as I called them. Because, I felt like in some of the judges, like, the clips that they were showing us are like people that passed, as opposed to, like, the Fios bros getting the I'm like, what's going on here? But I do want to just say real quick, though, I do love The Amazing Race, and I might be jumping ahead just a little bit, but shout out to the gays, okay? Because the gays on this season of Amazing Race, they showing out. They showing out. The Dungeons and Dragons and Brett and what's Brett's fiance?
Husband, Mark, yeah. And Kerrigan identifies as bisexual. So that 4th place, nailing it. And Courtney and Jasmine. I mean, everyone did great. So so for the dance side, you have Carson and Jack. Carson's a trained dancer. The Fios brothers. You have Ernst and Bubblegum. Got it. I won't say her name otherwise, which is the best nickname. Bernie and Kerrigan. Bernie, I want to say, is a trained dancer. Mark and Larry, who say they can't dance, but they're better at that than singing because they can't even read the street signs. Brett and Mark, who are both trained dancers. I was excited to watch them do this. I am shocked they even had to do it 3 times. I feel like maybe the producers made them just do it again because they were too fast. I don't even know. Courtney and Jasmine, who were very strategic. And even though there were less people on the singing side, says we're going to be better dancers than these guys. And these guys, we're going to try that. And it worked. And then on the singing side, you have Alyssa and Josiah, who were also strategic because they wanted to dance and said, there's nobody on the singing side. Let's do that.
Right.
And Jonathan and Anna, who also, she's a dancer. They met dancing, but he's like, we're going singing because there's too many people on the dance side. Then you have Han and Holden, who know Vietnamese. So they went to the singing side thinking that would help them. Erica and Melinda, Jeff and Pops, who said we cannot dance. We're doing whatever the other option is. Scott and Lori, and eventually Jackie and Lauren. I will say the one thing that bugged me about this, my little teeny baby gripe, no, it's bigger than that. My gripe is when everybody got to whichever side they were doing, they looked at all of the coaches and they said, who wants to help us? You. No one said, who speaks English? That's the first question I would ask any coach, because if I can't communicate with the person who's teaching me, then I'm already at a disadvantage. If you get there, future amazing racers, if you get there and you have the option to have somebody train you in something ask who speaks your language. Are you kicking me out?
No, I was trying to, hold on. Where are you? Hold on, I'm trying to. Okay, go ahead. Future Amazing Racers.
Future Amazing Racers. PSA from me. Take it for what it's worth, which is probably not a lot. If you ever get on the Amazing Race and you are given the opportunity to pick from a series of coaches to teach you something in a foreign country where English is not the most spoken language, ask who here speaks English. Or ask a question, like if you say, who wants to train me? And 5 people look at you like they don't know what you're saying, and 1 person raises their hand, choose that person because they know what you're saying, and you guys can communicate. Every little bit and every little moment helps, as you can see from the end of this episode. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's continue. Oh, we switched. Oh, and we're back. Okay, so this is where we stand. Nobody said who speaks English. That's fine. On the dancing side, because it's easier, I like the judge. He's all,
Yeah.
So I'm into the judge. Judge number 1, big fan. And the singing judge, like that sweet little elderly lady. Like, I liked her too. You could tell that she wanted to give it earlier than they were giving it. What did you think about? Which would you do? Dance?
I probably would do dance. Because I know with singing in a different language, like, but if we were, and it also depends on where other teams were at in the fork in the road. I also just do want to say that when we did First Look 37, I was like, I want to see Pops and Jeff do theater or like singing, and the gods of the seasons of Amazing Race give it right to us. And I have to say, as like 2 Black men, father and son, I do also, real quick though, Brooke, last on our first look, we asked the posse, we're like, I can't think of anyone on Amazing Race that was a Black father and son. And someone responded to us and let us know. Hold on, let me see when I get it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to shout out to Blue Noah X. He said, Bryce, season 32, Jerry and Frank, Black father and son.
Okay.
So
I like when the fans sometimes know better than what I'm saying. I never claim to be perfect.
But I did just love seeing Jeff and Pops just get into it. And Jeff being like, they said, like, you just got to do it. Don't be, what did he say? Don't be stiff or be stiff. Or
be stiff. I like they helped another team. Be more stiff. Once they got it, I will say that Jeff is like, I'll be the man. He can be the woman. And Pops is like, okay, cool. Like, no ego, no problem, whatever. So on the singing side, you have Alyssa and Josiah. Josiah's all, we can karaoke the hell out of anything. You will find us at a karaoke bar every Thursday.
What's the name of that karaoke bar, Josiah? I might need to come and check you out.
I bet he's good at, like, I don't know, some sort of Guns N' Roses-y, like rock and roll. I don't know. Maybe like a Neil Diamond raspy voice kind of. It's not this. This isn't it. He says there's not enough Yingling in the world to make this sound good, which I love that line. I think they're great. They have to try 4 times. They're the first team out of there. Jonathan and Anna, they are keeping their spirits up, although they do start to get a little bit frustrated toward the end. They only have to do it 3 times, which is not a lot of times for a detour. They're out of their second.
It's not one. It's not one. So
I will tell you, it is so rare to be able to do 1-in-1. We had that happen to us once in Venice. We were singing in Italian. We did it in 1 try. However, fun fact behind the scenes, I don't know if I've ever told you this. So in Venice, there were little drop-off points, and we finished before a drop-off point. So they just made us do it again because we hadn't gotten to a drop-off point. So maybe that's what happened to the guys on the other side. They just had to do it again because they needed it better for the camera. Anyway, I digress. Jeff and Pops, 2 tries, just the 2. And they get it, and they're in 3rd place. And then they help Erica and Melinda, I believe, saying, stay stiff, don't bounce. Like, that's how you're going to do it. Han and Holding speak Vietnamese. It works well for them. They're out in 4th. Scott and Lori, turns out Scott was, in fact, a cheerleader, like I said earlier. Lori is told she needs to be more dainty. Dainty she is not. Scott just keeps chanting dainty, dainty, dainty. That's fine. They're adorable. And they are out in 5th. And then you have Erica and Melinda out in 6th. Jackie and Lauren aren't there yet, so we can't even talk about them. But that's fine. On the other side, my favorite part about this was the Fios brothers, because I actually really enjoy their back and forth.
Yes.
I think one of them's going to punch the other before this thing is over, but like with love. I think it is, don't tell me to calm down, but the one who's being told to calm down, which I think is Mike, right?
Mike.
He's not really mad about it, but like maybe don't tell him to calm down. That doesn't work for people. Anyway, the smart thing that's done on this side is that Carson and Jack decide we're not going to practice a lot. We're just going to go in there and try it, which is the best move because you're going to get some no's first, and that is your practice. And that's smart move, and that's how they end up doing it first. 3 tries, and they're out of there. Right? That's the move.
Yes.
PSA for future amazing racers.
Hold on, wait. Let me see if I get it right this time. Brooks PSA.
If you're going to be on the Amazing Race, PSA number 2 for episode 1 here. If there is a task where you're going to be judged, singing, dance, whatever it is, like practice a little, but then go try it, especially if you can get in before other people and you're at the front of a line. That they're going to give you a no unless you're perfect on the first try. Get your no's out of the way so you can get your yes, because eventually they'll let you go. So practice a little, try a lot. There you go. Thank you for coming.
And be stiff.
That's not part of my TED Talk. Anyway, Brett and Mark are there. They finished in second. I'm actually surprised they had to do it 3 times. They were fantastic. Like, obviously, they're professional dancers. Their precision was perfection. They looked like the example. Bernie and Kerrigan, we don't see much of their dancing, but they're out 3rd. Ernest and Bubblegum, we don't see their dancing. They're out 4th. And then we have the Fios brothers. I do like, they also did something that was great. When they got their no, they said, what's wrong? They were the only ones that we saw, now maybe other people did it, who said, what is wrong? If a judge is willing,
Hold on.
It's okay.
Hold on.
Oh, that sort of works. If you're being judged, there's no harm in asking what's going to make you say yes to us. So if you are able to ask the judge, what did we do wrong? And the judge is willing to tell you, because sometimes they won't, but this guy was chatty and he liked being asked the question, and they will tell you what to do to make it better. Always ask. You can be told no, but you won't get your answer unless you at least try. There you go. Thank you for coming to my talk. Okay, so they're out in 5th. And then you have Jasmine and Courtney and Mark and Larry, who are the last 2 standing. I actually really started to like Mark and Larry. I like the way they were working together. They're just sweet.
Fun. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good
4
energy.
tries. Jasmine and Courtney, only 2. And they knew where their strength was, and they went to the dance side, and they had a never give up mantra. But the interesting part is the Fios brothers and Jasmine and Courtney and Mark and Larry are actually legitimately very close together. Like, this is not editing. This is real life. They're all trying to get cabs. I'm going, oh, poops. Courtney and Jasmine aren't going to get a cab again. This is going to happen. But they did. Everyone was on foot at the same time, so close to the pit stop.
Not another classic amazing race arc in this season. Them, from other seasons, them being right next to each other, 3 teams. I said this season is off to a good start.
That's good. Oh, I might have, whatever. I don't need that. Okay. Because Jackie and Lauren are on there, but whatever. We know how they do. So everyone is going to the pit stop. On the Lion side, we have Jack and Carson, first place, $3,000. Woo! Brett and Mark come in second. Ernest and Bubblegum, Bridget, whatever, come in third. Bernie and Kerrigan come in fourth. Cut to the other side, where now your first team comes in. Like, the other side was so much harder. So regardless, on the Lion side, Mike and Nick make it 5th. Courtney and Jasmine make it 6th, about a half a second after them. What are you doing?
I'm just waiting for you to get to number 2.
Okay. And then Mark and Larry are the last team to arrive. There is very heartfelt. They cry. Like, real men cry. Like, it was just, they were so happy to be there. They're like, look at where we are. They were just grateful for the experience. I'm actually sad to see them go. I didn't think they would be as heartwarming as they were. I very much enjoyed watching them. I'm sorry to see them go, but that is one road, but that's not the only road. On the other side, Alyssa and Josiah win their $3,000. And then we have my gripe number 2 of the episode. What are you doing? Jonathan and Anna come in second. What?
The way Jonathan was sitting up there, like
he says second isn't good enough, and I'm like, shut up! Are you kidding? Like, he is in for a rude awakening. Nobody has ever been first unless your names are Ricky and Cesar on every leg of the race. Well, you're not going to be first every time, my dude. It's just not going to happen. And that being said, I really loved it. I'm there for it.
So I was cracking up. Hold on. I gotta.
That's not good enough. Okay. Hold on, That's not good enough, he said.
Hello. Welcome to the Bryce Isaiah TED Talk. Here's my thing for future racers. On the first couple of challenges, please don't win. Try second or third place. Let there be a clear leader that other teams can see, because at some point in time, if there is a U-turn, if there's a roadblock, if you can gain alliances, more than likely, they're going to want to help the third and fourth team and not the first team. So I turned to Jonathan and Anna last night. Well, really, Jonathan, because Anna was just, Jonathan was looking at the TV like, I said, well, Jonathan, in my experience, the first team doesn't win. It's always another team. And so Jonathan said, really? I said, yeah. He said, okay. So listen, thank you for coming.
You brought him out of his funk. That's you brought him right out of his funk. All it took was you saying, you expert on the Amazing Race thing. Studies have shown that the first team on the first leg doesn't habitually win. It's true.
Unless your name is Ricky and Cesar. But
well, yeah, there are a couple, but that's true. Okay, so Scott and Lori come in third. Jeff and Pops saunter up in fourth. Hannah and Holden are in fifth. They're all together. And then Melinda and Erica come in sixth, and they are shocked. They are still in the race. They're heartwarming too. I don't even know.
I love them. And I like their story because I could almost see winner in them, right? Like this story that we have and them both being nurses and them starting at the bottom. That's a good story to root.
Are they both nurses?
I thought they were. Wait, who?
I know that Courtney and Jasmine are nurses.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about Courtney and Jasmine. My bad. Who'd you say? Melinda? Oh, yeah.
And Erica, mother-daughter.
Now listen.
Oh, you have different feeling. Okay, cool. That's fine. Whatever. I thought
Erica, I like you,
this
girl.
Is right. This is where I think you're going to have a problem because Melinda, they start to get a little bit lost and Melinda gets a little bit down. But I understand that because when you're in the back, it's hard not to get a little bit down. That's natural. Being upbeat all the time is not natural, but maybe just not natural to me. Maybe it's natural to people. It might just be not natural to Brooke. I should work on that. But I do like that Erica was like, Mom, like, stop. Like, we're not out. Like, just keep going. Also, you haven't seen another team in like 4 days. Like, you're not last. Like, let's be real. You know they're behind you and you know they had to do your side. So, like, and they weren't there when you left. So you're pretty safe. That being said, I like that the daughter snapped her back into reality. I like that they were happy when they got to the finish line. And unfortunately, I threw it over there. I don't remember how many times Jackie and Lauren had to do their thing. I don't need this one anymore.
We saw them gracefully completed. They got to the end.
They were good, actually.
They were really good. And they talked about how their mother said, and I feel like it's very true in every community, but a lot for me in the Black community, I see a lot of my Black elders working until retirement. And then when they retire, they get sick and they're not able to enjoy it. And so the fact that these sisters came out here and said, we just want to live. We just want to take a step into doing something that we're not used to. And so whether it's first or last place, but the Bible says the first shall be the last and the last shall be the first. So in that case,
congratulate your winners. Jackie
Lauren and Jackie are my winners and I love them.
So the part that I liked seeing pictures of them from home and they were saying they're wanting to travel with their mom and then their mom got Parkinson's, so she's not able to travel as much anyway. The thing that Jackie says, I want my tombstone to read, I ran the Amazing Race season 37. I love her. I came in last. I got to go one leg, but it doesn't matter. It's so important to me that this is how I want to be remembered. I'm actually heartbroken that they're gone, but at least they won. Okay, so
okay. That's it.
That's it.
A great start.
Yeah. Next time on The Amazing Race, there's drumming and a musical challenge because why make people make a ladle? And the intersection is back. So I don't think you've lived through an intersection.
I don't know what the intersection is, girl. And then I saw people. I saw people with other people. I said, what's going on?
So the intersection is so interesting because you have to team up with another team for a portion of the leg. It's usually one challenge. And if you get to the intersection box and nobody else is there, you wait until somebody else shows up. And if you're there and two teams show up, then two teams have to decide to work together. And the third team has to wait for another team to show up. So it is strategic. Like, do I want you or do I want to work with you? Or am I going to choose not to work with you and wait for the next people to get here? And we'll both suffer a little bit. So very interesting. I'm excited for it. They did it on 16. I don't, someone will correct me, know if they've done it since then, but it is a very cool gimmick and I'm excited to see it. I like that they're doing something that they've done before on every episode or something new, like this fork in the road on every episode. So feel free to keep correcting anything I said that's wrong. I really like that. No, that was good. Seriously, people know better than I do most of the time. Check out our exit interviews with the first two eliminated teams, Jackie and Lauren and Mark and Larry. They were all lovely and wonderful people to talk to. And, we'll be back for the next one. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yes, I can't wait. We're off to a great start of season 37. I can't wait to be back next week talking episode 2. Like our Queen Brooke said in her TED Talk, make sure you check out our exit interviews from the first and second teams. You can listen to it on the Purple Pants Podcast or right here on the Bryce Isaiah YouTube channel. It's been so much fun. Brooke, we're back and I'm so excited. And next week I will be in San Francisco and I think I might be watching Amazing Race with another team. I love how the Bryce and Win Tour 48 has kind of sort of turned into an Amazing Race tour and I love it. So if you're in the San Francisco area, tickets to the Bryce and Win are available at bryceandwin.com. See you next week. Thanks for coming to Brooke and Bryce's TED Talk.
Bye.
It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind. You better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get